Today, on a special Mr. Nashville Talks, the late Dennis Banks.
It is sad when mistreatment and abuse and neglect and murder against Indian people becomes common. This is where it started, and this is where it's going to end.
Many people have described Dennis Banks as the Martin Luther King of the Native American community, and I would have to agree. Dennis Banks was an activist, author, civil rights leader, and the co-founder of the American Indian movement. We lost Dennis this past fall from pneumonia following heart surgery. Dennis wanted to film our interview in a park close to nature, so you may hear some activity in the background, but forgive the noise because this is one man whose story you definitely want to hear. Well, how fitting that we get to talk in this beautiful park. I got a beautiful soul and a beautiful park all in the same morning here in Brentwood, Tennessee. You're doing a walk across America.
Yes.
And can you tell us what the cause is and what you're doing this great thing for?
The walk is trying to call an end to drug abuse and domestic violence. I say on the reservations, but if we can stop it any place, that'd be all right too, because domestic violence and drug abuse is hurting us on the reservations. It's all, we now know that it's been there. Well, we've known for a long time it's been there.
Yeah.
But now, what is the depth of it? What is the level of participation by our people? That's what we wanted to find out, and we're finding out now because of our questionnaires that we have them fill out. It's an anonymous questionnaire. We don't ask for their names or ask them to sign anything, and we find out now that it's from their answers that it's pretty deep, and it's been around for generation, maybe 4 generations. One person said for 4 generations it's been here.
Wow. So, it's a learned activity, I think, as you pass it down, they see their parents live that way, and then they pass it down and they pass it down. Is that what you're finding out?
Yes, and there's other thing like historical trauma that's involved with it. The way Native people were treated over the past, and I don't say that it began there then, but people lose jobs. Whenever people lose jobs, bad things happen at the house.
Yes.
And that's one of them. The man feels he's lost he's not the head of the household anymore, and he wants to exert it by violence. We're finding that out. So it's hurting us very badly on the reservations, and that's why this walk. And also, my granddaughter was killed by her boyfriend last year in October, and at first we were going to make it just calling attention to the drug abuse in our communities, including prescription drugs, by the way, which is very bad. Sometimes equal to the heroin and other kind of opiates that the prescriptions bring in. And then when my granddaughter was killed, then we added domestic violence. In the manner how she was killed, murdered, and they crushed up some styrofoam plates, and then they put that on the body, and they put gasoline on her, tried to destroy the whole body, and they did destroy much of it, but there was, luckily for us, there was a small amount of intestines that were not affected by it, and this is the way they had her doubled up. And the doctors were able to get a DNA from that, and then to prove that was my granddaughter. And so it was just, domestic violence is...
Were they able to capture
Yeah, he's in jail now. It's been over 8 months he's been in jail, and they have hard evidence, but they want to make sure they get all the evidence to give him a maximum amount of time. So anyway, it's so we started February 13th in La Jolla, California, right next to San Diego. Went to Arizona, Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, part of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and now we're in Mississippi.
That's
and
great.
We're on our way to Washington, D.C. It'll be a 3,600 mile walk, and taking us 5.5 months to complete the walk. There's 3 walks we're going to do. That's just the first one. That's all we're going to do this year. And then next year, but at the same time, we'll start at Alcatraz, and then in Northern California, and then come through the middle states of America, ending up in D.C. And next year, we will be doing the northern part of the United States, Seattle, Idaho, and Montana, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. We'll do the upper parts. And by the end of the 3 years, we'll have visited every reservation.
Wow.
In the country. And I actually know most of the people that we're going to, because I've been in the American Indian movement. We have chapters all across the country. We had national conventions, and so.
When you helped start the American Indian movement.
I'm the principal founder of the American Indian movement.
How did you get that started?
Well, I went knocking door to door, and I felt that because of the police brutality was every weekend there was hundreds of Native people arrested, and then I realized once I got caught in the dragnet of rounding up people on Saturday nights and Sunday nights, and then I realized when we got out. The judge asked me how I pled. I said, well, I'm not guilty.
How many members do you have in the American Indian movement?
It's hard to say. We have about 25 chapters, but it's hard to say how many members we have out there. We do have some people that just write in and say, we're a part of this chapter, but we're not an active member, but we support you, and they might send us $25 a year or something like that. So we have a lot of people like that out there who support us with just $15, $20, and pretty soon and we might make $500 a month on donor contributions and stuff like that. Nothing big, but it's continuous. People still support the American Indian movement.
And Harry Belafonte, didn't he go on one of your walks with you guys? Help support it or bring attention?
Yeah, Harry and I have been friends for 30 years.
Okay.
So
he's great civil rights.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I've been to some of his events, and he comes to some of my events. He's a great. Well, first of all, I first met him when he was a singer.
Yeah.
And some people only know him as like a civil rights actor.
Yeah, exactly. And he was a movie actor as well. Yeah.
And they don't remember him. And I tell them, he's a good singer, you guys, you know. And then we played some of those old calypso songs, and they-oh.
Yeah.
I've known him in Brando.
Yes,
Brando. Of course, I knew Brando I first seen Brando in 1954 when I was in the military in the Far East. There was a movie, 55 rather, there was a movie over there that they were making. It was called Sayonara. And James Garner was in it, Brando, Red Buttons. And there was a book from a great writer named Michener, James Michener.
Yes.
And when Russell and I made opening statements in the Wounded Knee trial, we said different ways we said it, but we said we shouldn't be on trial. The U.S. government should be on trial. And then 9.5 months the judge saw the deceit, and he mentioned it too. He said, he says that they manufactured evidence, and he caught them when they did that, the FBI, and they were marking things on the FBI, what they call 302s, which was their investigation papers, and but they were blacking out stuff on the stuff we got, and their stuff was clean. They wouldn't. So they were obliterating and they were tampering with evidence. And the judge said, he says, "You are moving me to consider dismissing these cases from the misconduct that I've seen so far." But we're about halfway through the trial. And then other things happened more. Then he admonished the government. And one time we went back to his chambers, he took off his robe and he threw it to the ground, to the floor. He said, "You know what?" He said, "I'm on the brink right now of dismissing these cases. You guys have pushed me to the brink." He says, in evidence, you guys have manufactured evidence, you've destroyed evidence, and now you've manipulated, you're trying to manipulate the evidence. So this is, you're on the brink. I'm on the brink right now. And of course, he went over the brink on the last incident when the guy testified against us. And so I thought that he used to throw me. He threatened to throw me in jail the opening day when we started the trial, because I stood up and I objected. And he said, "Mr. Bank, sit down. You don't object." He said, "The attorneys object." So it was that kind of a trial, just filled with all kinds of myths, truths, misstatements. It was filled with witnesses that were deliberately lying on the stand, and the government did nothing to prepare them, to seek them out, see if they were good witnesses. But our attorneys would catch them in a lie all the time. Yeah. We had Bill Kunstler was one of our attorneys, top trial attorney in the U.S. In the end, the government dismissed the cases against us, and the case began because of the incidents at Wounded Knee in 1973. So much corruption on the Pine Ridge Reservation that the tribes, that the members themselves moved to impeach the sitting president. And he, as a president, when you force like a housing committee or a education committee, he becomes the temporary chair of that committee until they themselves select a new committee chairman. And so when he created the impeachment committee, he was the chairman of his own
impeachment committee.
Yeah. And they didn't go any further than that. I mean, he said some of his own members that he committed asked to sit on that jury. They were all his goons, and one of them stood up and says, "Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a resolution right now to declare you guilty of all these charges." And somebody seconded it, and that was it. That was the end of the impeachment trial. And all the traditional Native people, they just walked out like that, and they called on the American Indian movement. Last desperate help, they called on us. So we arrived there just within hours, because we had a chapter in Rapid City, so we just went down there and entered the call. They says, "We need your help. We need lawyers. We're going to have to take some direct action too." So, and one of them was to go to Wounded Knee, hold Wounded Knee, and make our stand from Wounded Knee. And that's what we did. And then we didn't know, but all we did was we set up roadblocks so nobody could come in. And that's our territory. That's already ours.
Exactly.
And so, and then they tried to come in, but we were having a meeting inside the church, and there was shooting going on outside, and the security come running and said, "What?" They said, "They're shooting at us. What should we do?" And both Russell and I turned to him, just both said it almost at the same time, like on cue. "Return fire, return fire." Well, of course, these guys had 22s and shotguns against AR-15s, but we said, "Return the fire," and that's what we did. And for 71 days, we were there, and then they were shooting at us every day for 71 days. Big, and as I said, I didn't know how far they were going to go to crush the movement. And then we woke up on March 3rd. We'd only been there like 5 days, but we were surrounded, and we built our perimeter pretty far too. We had about a 2-mile area, but they set their perimeters about a half a mile up. So there was a little half-mile area there. And then I was woken about 5 in the morning by security, and they says, "Dennis, come outside." They said, "There's a noise out here. We can't hear or identify it." So I went out there, and it was like a droning noise, and couldn't figure out what it would be. It sounded like an airplane way out, but back here too, behind it. And then the fog sort of lifted about 7 o'clock that morning. It was a mist, foggy. And we're looking, and Stan says, "Dennis, I know where I've heard it now." He says, "Look." I looked over there, and it looked like a tank. And it was an armored personnel carrier.
Oh.
There was 15 of them surrounding us. He said, "Now I know I've heard it, Vietnam."
Yeah.
Holy crap. And then they announced that they were assigning, the FBI announced they were assigning 300 FBI agents to Wounded Knee, and then the marshals, they assigned 90 marshals to Wounded Knee to do combat shooting.
Wow.
And that was the name of the game for 71 days, is to shoot them down.
Now, how can viewers support? Can viewers?
Well, you can go to GoFundMe, and if you can put in $20 a month, that'd be good for us. So we're doing this big walk right now across America, and that's the only thing we need right now is gas money. Luckily, the gas prices are down from 4 years ago when they were like almost $4 a gallon. So, but we still need gas. That's the biggest expense probably on any big walk across the country. So, and I walked, by the way, this is my 8th walk across the country.
Wow.
I walked 7 times all the way across the country, and this might be the last one that I'll physically walk. And so we have a list of supporters out there that have come through and been there when like Brando came to when we had the walk in 1978. Stevie Wonder.
Oh wow.
And oh Jesus, Buffy St. Marie, Floyd Westerman, who passed away. But so there's a lot of people that support us along the way, and they've been from different walks of life.
You've really lived an incredible life.
By the way, we've got a lot of singers and musicians too. Speaking about Nashville,
yes.
I mean, one of our biggest supporters is Willie Nelson.
Oh yes, Willie
Nelson has been almost. He says, if I need any help, Dennis, give me a call. And if I have time, he says, don't call me, like three weeks before the event.
Yeah.
So we call on him. We give him like a year ahead of time. And Chris Christopherson is another one. One of the first persons that came on board was by the way, was Harry Belafonte.
Yes.
He wrote us a note, saying that, if you guys need some support, he says, let me know.
Now, your autobiography, I'll let you say the title because I know I'll butcher it.
It's called The Ojibwe Warrior.
Ojibwe Warrior.
Yeah,
Yes.
and they're still out there, still selling on Amazon.com.
Yes.
So if you want to buy it, go to Amazon.com, and it's called Ojibwe Warrior.
I appreciate you doing this so much, and I'm really sending you a lot of prayers and great wishes for all that you're doing, but especially on this walk in Mississippi for domestic violence.
Yes.
And the drug abuse on the reservations and all over. And I really think that your daughter is looking down, your granddaughter is looking down, so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Larry.
As we all look up to you, she's looking down and just giving a big smile to you. And I appreciate you so much for being a part of the show today and for all the work you're doing for not just the Native Americans, but for humanity.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you very much.